You are standing in your kitchen at 2 in the morning, and you hear it. A scratch behind the wall, near the stove. Not a one-time sound. A pattern. Scratch, pause, scratch again. You turn on the light. Nothing moves in the shadows. By morning, you find the droppings. Small, dark, the size of a grain of rice. 1 week later, there are 40 of them along the baseboards. Mice. They have moved in without asking, and now they own the dark. Here is what I need you to understand right now. That scratch you heard is not the start of your problem. It is the end of it. The mouse was already inside when you heard it. I have spent 20 years sealing homes against these animals, and I can tell you this. My father taught me the trade before me, and his work still stands. What you are about to learn eliminates 80% of rodent invasions before any trap goes down. Not poison, not snap, just a seal and the knowledge of where to look. By the end of this chapter, you will walk your own home like I walk mine. You will know the 4 sizes of entry points that matter most. You will understand why steel wool works where plastic fails. And you will know the exact moment, September through November in the north, when rodents probe for entry. Now, here is the part that will change how you approach this. Sealing happens first. Everything else comes after. The reason is not magic. It is mechanics. If you set a trap inside a sealed house, the rodent has nowhere to go but deeper into your walls. It dies there. It rots there. The smell travels for weeks. But if you seal the entry first, then bait, then trap, you are forcing the animal to choose. It searches for the way out it remembers. It finds the bait instead. That is the order. Seal, then trigger, then catch. Steel wool is your primary tool, and it works because a rodent's teeth cannot grip metal fiber. Paired with caulk, it becomes permanent, rust-proof, unbreakable. I am going to show you where to look and what you are hunting for. But before we place a single trap or peanut butter paste, you need to know where your walls end and theirs begin. Now that your entry points are sealed, the trap placement becomes everything. I do not set a single snap trap until I have walked every wall. You are moving slowly through a kitchen, running your fingers along baseboards. You will feel a slight grease, dark and sticky, where rodents travel nightly. These are runways, highways, the same path, used night after night. I have trapped mice in the same corner for 3 consecutive weeks. The snap trap works because of its mechanism, and the mechanism demands precision. A spring-loaded bar, triggered by contact, kills instantly, far cleaner than poison. But the trigger itself is the problem most people overlook. I place a pea-sized amount of peanut butter on the paddle. Peanut butter, not cheese. Cheese can be snatched without firing the trap. Peanut butter sticks. The mouse must engage the trigger to pull it free. I press the bait firmly into the cup so contact is unavoidable. Now, the orientation. This is where I see people fail most often. The trap sits perpendicular to the wall, trigger end facing inward. The rodent traveling along the wall runs directly over that trigger. Parallel to the wall is a mistake I made once in 2008. 0 catches that week. Reoriented, caught 4 mice the next 2 days. In corners, where 2 walls meet, I set 2 traps in an L shape. Rodents feel most secure in corners. They slow down. They linger. Double coverage there pays for itself immediately. Spacing matters by species. For mice, every 2 to 3 feet along the runway. Rats roam larger territory, so I space theirs every 15 to 20 feet. With pets in the home, placement is non-negotiable. Behind refrigerators, inside cabinet toe kicks, under sinks where paws cannot reach. Better still, I house the trap inside a plastic bait station. Entry holes sized for rodents only, 1.5 inches for mice. A dog's paw cannot fit through. A cat's curiosity stays outside. Check your traps daily. A corpse left too long attracts secondary pests. Wear gloves when you handle anything. Hantavirus lives on rodent droppings. When you clear a trap, wash your hands thoroughly afterward. And here is where it gets interesting. Your paste is working. Your placement is working. But you have a ceiling gap. What moves through that gap while you sleep changes everything. With the traps now catching your first residents, you need a layer that works while you sleep. That layer is electronic. Ultrasonic and electromagnetic deterrents deployed around your perimeter as a continuous patrol. Here is what I learned the hard way. They fail if they stand alone. I tried them first, before sealing, before trapping, and the rodents simply ignored them. Now I use them differently, as a second fence, a wall they must think about crossing. Ultrasonic devices emit sound waves between 15,000 and 65,000 hertz, far above what you can hear. Your dog cannot hear it either. Your cat walks past untouched. But a mouse detects frequencies up to 90,000 hertz, and that sound disrupts them. They use those same frequencies to find mates, to signal territory, to call their pups. A constant disrupted channel means stress, disorientation, a reason to leave. Now, here is where it gets interesting. That sound does not pass through walls. A device in your kitchen protects the kitchen. The hallway beyond it is a shadow zone. I learned this in a basement in Somerset, where rodents nested behind the boiler. I placed one unit in the center of the room and watched them navigate around it. The moment I added a second unit on the opposite wall, pressure dropped within days. You need coverage. Think of it like lighting a room. One lamp leaves corners dark. I map my zones first. Kitchen near the stove. Garage by the entry door. Basement in the corner where droppings collect. Crawl space access points need their own unit. Electromagnetic devices work through your wall wiring, creating a field rodents find uncomfortable. They require a grounded 3-prong outlet and work continuously, even when you are away. Here is the honest part. Rodents habituate. Within 1 to 2 weeks, the constant signal fades. Motion-activated units fight this by triggering only when movement is detected. Unpredictability keeps them alert. Rotating frequencies, what many modern devices claim, slows adaptation but does not stop it. This is precisely why these devices cannot stand alone. They are a layer, not a wall. Combined with sealed entry points and traps positioned right, they create a hostile 3-part system. Check each unit monthly. Dust the transducers. Confirm the indicator light glows. Reposition units seasonally as rodent pressure shifts. Autumn brings new traffic patterns. A dead outlet means a dead zone. Mark your units on a map so you notice when one fails. But stopping the signal is not stopping the problem. Removing their reason to stay is. With the traps set and the perimeter humming, here is where most people stop and lose the whole fight. You see, A trapped rat means nothing if a new one smells dinner waiting in your kitchen. I want you to think about this. A single rat needs 1 ounce of food, 1 ounce of water, every single day. Remove both, and that rat's brain sends one signal: leave. That is the secret I promised you at the start. Your pet's food bowl is not a convenience. It is a live invitation written in scent. Right now, imagine you are a Norway rat on a cold October night, your nest in the attic above the garage. You follow the smell, down through the wall, down the studs, into the kitchen. It is stronger than anything you have smelled in weeks. You find it. Kibble in a plastic bin on the floor, near the wall where you feel safe. You eat. You drink from the water bowl beside it. You come back tomorrow night, and the next. Now anchor yourself here. That rat will stay within 300 feet of that food forever. But seal the kibble in a steel container, lift it 6 inches onto a smooth metal stand away from the walls. Elevate the water bowl the same way. That rat returns tomorrow and finds nothing. No smell, no grip on smooth metal. Within 3 days, hunger and thirst override the route he knows. He scouts elsewhere. He leaves. Here is what we have walked through. The entry seal stops the invasion. The trap ends the trespasser. The electronic layer runs while you sleep. But the food removal, that is the only step that removes his reason to come at all. This is not a trap. This is not poison. This is the absence of welcome. Tomorrow morning, I want you to walk your kitchen the way a rat would walk it. Nose open. Follow the smells. Where does kibble hide? Where does water sit overnight? Where do walls curve close? Then, 1 steel container, 1 smooth stand, 1 bowl emptied by dusk. That single daily habit, repeated every night for 6 months, builds a home where rodents cannot anchor. I read every comment you leave. Tell me, where in your house is the hardest spot to seal, and what are you storing there right now? That answer changes everything.